Hello there, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. Today we're going to be watching and reacting to a Decoy voice video. This one on Kentucky just snapped. I'll be real honest with you. I'm not entirely certain what is going on in this scenario. What do you mean? What do you mean Kentucky snapped? What happened here? At a bridge in Cincinnati, Ohio, and Covington, Kentucky, a group of activists. I might have been on this bridge before. It rings a bell. Group of activists blocked the path. Cincinnati had their own approach and coverage of this incident, but it seems Deep Red Kentucky has entirely different view on what happened. What happened? I'm confused. We're going to find out. Link to the video will be in the description down below. Make sure to go and check it out. I really like Decoy voice. He has concise commentary, and he doesn't bend the knee, I guess one could say. He just says he says it how it is. So yeah, let's get into it. Yeah.
When you have what happens when you have anti-ICE protesters from Deep Blue Cincinnati?
Of course, it's ICE. Okay.
Wander across a bridge into Deep Red Kentucky. We finally get to see the FAFO scale in action, as these activists block the rolling bridge between Ohio and Kentucky. And while Cincinnati PD is gently arresting these people protesting, Kentucky's Covington.
That getup was wild.
While Cincinnati PD is gently.
She wearing dog ears? What? This is wild.
Arresting these people protesting, Kentucky's Covington police immediately laid down the law. Now, one copper started landing haymakers on a protester in a Cincinnati Reds cap, while this lady attacked the cops with her tactical slipper, as the canine cops were finally deployed. Now, what's interesting is how Kentucky's media reported
arrest after an anti-ICE protest in Covington. Here's what we know. Oh yeah, I can't wait to see what the other side has to say
on the arrests, versus how the liberal media highlights.
Watch Kentucky cops beat protesters demonstrating against ICE arrest of hospital chaplain.
The Kentucky cops that beat protesters, simply demonstrating against the ICE arrest of a hospital chaplain, with Cincinnati's local outlets sensationalizing it.
This is our country.
There's again,
hospital chaplain.
If you're protesting in the U.S. and you're protesting like pro-immigration, or not even pro-immigration, it's pro-allowing illegal aliens to stay in the country, maybe fly the flag of the country you want these people to stay in. Yeah? You ever thought about that?
Cincinnati's local outlets sensationalizing it.
This is our country. Why are we being beat up because we're doing a peaceful march?
The story I'm getting is they were peacefully assembling, having a protest, and then somebody came down here in a car and antagonized them. And there was a confrontation between that driver and the protesters.
He said, I'm American, and he just threw me down on the ground. I am 70 years old. This is my country.
This is possibly the greatest illustration of culture clash, as plenty of liberal places would simply allow activists to block a bridge, but Kentucky is showing them this renaissance of justice, as they're simply bewildered at the idea that they will be forcefully arrested when taking over our infrastructure, as Cincinnati's local outlet covers a story, reporting how 13 were arrested by Kentucky's police for rioting, amongst other things, but framing it with a car antagonized the peaceful protesters. Imagine you're just trying to get to work, and the unemployed hordes with nothing to do on a weekday afternoon start pounding on your vehicle while waving some other country's flag that has absolutely
yeah.
nothing to do with what they're protesting, as these activists are allegedly angry over a Cincinnati children's chaplain being arrested after he recently lost his asylum status in America, as back in 2022, he filed a lawsuit over the feds flagging him after applying for a job in an Oregon prison.
Huh?
But now facing deportation, they claim his life is in danger if sent back to Egypt, which they're already accommodating for this by sending people to third-party countries. As one, I really wonder if he was given the option of the South Sudan or El Salvador, would he suddenly change his mind and prefer to go home? And two, they keep framing him as this children's chaplain wrongfully losing his asylum status, but you really have to search to find out why he lost it, as even NPR's network reports on his case, stating it's over his time on the board of an Egyptian community organization that has ties with an organization that...
And now we know why they're flying the Palestinian flag, guys. Now we know why they were flying the Palestinian flag.
That their own government classifies as a terror group, to which he openly admitted his affiliation with on his application. But now the response is, that group has been ubiquitous in many aspects of the country's civic life. As honestly, I have no idea how that clears his name, other than possibly the most important aspect of this case is being conveniently omitted in most of the reporting. As why do all the headlines say children's chaplain, but nothing about the possible ties to terror, attempting to get a position inside or prison?
True, so true. Do you see like like everything's flashing? Do you see that? Am I going crazy? Is that something on my end? What happens
when you have anti-ICE protesters?
What is going on? Also, I love that I reset it and it doesn't go back to the same spot it's supposed to. When it's YouTube, man. YouTube's a mess, man.
Clears his name, other than possibly the most important aspect of this case is being conveniently omitted in most of the reporting. As why do all the headlines say children's chaplain, but nothing about the possible ties to terror, attempting to get a position inside our prison system? Now I understand their argument. They're framing this as a very loose connection to that organization, and for all we know, this could be true. But it honestly feels like the activist issue isn't with US policy regarding terror, but Egypt's classification of that organization. So why aren't they protesting bridges in Egypt? Or is this yet another example of activists marching on behalf of something they know little to nothing about?
That's exactly what it is. They just don't know what exactly they're protesting against. They get like the talking points, they get the headlines, they get the yapping heads from their political party they agree with, and then they just roll from there instead of actually digging into it and reading more about, the situation, the scenario, what the going-ons. That's all they get. They read the headline and then they go out there and they act all high and mighty as if they know everything and they're in the right. And how they could never be wrong. That's the way most protests are, and I'm going to say it on both sides. It doesn't matter your political agenda. I mean, that's just the way most people are, unfortunately.
But at least Kentucky isn't playing around, as some of the felonies were dropped, but mainly due to guilty pleas on the misdemeanor charges, with 4 still facing felony riot convictions. As their defense attorney is arguing at one point this was a peaceful assembly, but the Kentucky judge just got frustrated, stating this was a riot, as 5+ people gathered with violent behavior, attacking the police. The simple fact that this case hasn't been thrown out makes me believe they're about to find out. It really looks like Kentucky's justice system is trying to set the precedence of, just because you're angry over something beyond your understanding, doesn't mean you get to throw a temper tantrum blocking our public streets, as it sounds like a slippery slope. But there's a reason why in Florida, activists politely protest alligator Alcatraz from the safety of the side of the road, when liberal Los Angeles, California loses access to their freeways whenever the Democrats don't get their way. I've covered this third world phenomenon for years now, as sadly the only time the city sees law and order is when Trump deploys the Marines, or when there was mass looting during the lockdowns and the National Guard had to be installed before it stopped. But let me know if you think Kentucky will actually lock up these so-called activists, as some people think a felony conviction is too harsh, but I think it isn't enough. I think if you ever get arrested for activism, you should lose all access to public benefits, as a US taxpayer shouldn't be subsidizing this unemployed behavior. And if you got time to block a bridge on a Wednesday afternoon...
I don't disagree with that. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know. I'd have to think about it a little bit more. Like, for one, yeah, sure. If you're causing mischief and mayhem, there needs to be consequences. And maybe if you're like, surviving and thriving off of like the governmental money, maybe that there should be some restrictions put onto that. But at the same time, it's like, isn't that a little too far? I don't know.
You got time to get a regular job, possibly on a farm. I heard a lot of them are hiring. So if you appreciate my concise,
Wow. Go work on a farm, guys. As a Kentuckian, the Ohio River is there for a reason. Don't bring it to Appalachia. We don't care about the outside world's opinion. Ironic that they are saying built bridges, not walls. Meanwhile, they're making themselves a human wall to block a bridge. You do not block roads, bridges, rights of ways. You do not destroy property, scream in people's faces, attack people, break glass, windows, assault police, throw concrete or rocks at people and vehicles, or try to impose your will upon others. The First Amendment is for peaceful assembly, not rioting. You will go to jail if you commit any of the above violations. I agree. We see way too much of this. There's too much of this peace. They call it peaceful protest, but it's very evidently clearly not peaceful. Years ago, BLM came to one of our small towns in Kentucky to protest. They were met with pretty much the entire town standing on the side of the road with the group with their guns out. Oh my God! They never tried to venture into the small towns again. You have the right to protest. You do not have the right to impede travel of other people. Peaceful protest does not equal blocking the road. You're 70, stay home and act like an adult. If you're blocking the road, guess what? There's not the potato head administration. This is my country, and then tomorrow morning they talk about stolen land. We're 100% FAFO in Florida. Well done, Kentucky officers. I missed this entirely. Again, I've been staying off of social media for the past 2 weeks or so. So it was nice, having that breather, but at the same time, I definitely feel like I miss so much. It's kind of wild. If you get arrested for rioting or assaulting cops, you should lose driving privileges and your right to vote. I don't know. The right to vote is too much, but there should be restrictions, I think, for sure. I believe Ohio has border jurisdiction about 10 feet into the river. The rest is Kentucky. Oh. Oh my. As someone from Kentucky, you just don't try that stuff here. It's established case law. You cannot obstruct other people. Yeah, okay. I scrolled down as I was reading, so it's gone. These people remind you how long the BS has been brewing. Thank God some people still have a shred of sanity and are not continuing to put up with such mess. Why are people surprised that every state isn't Washington? Here in Kentucky, we don't like riots. That song, Try That in a Small Town, wasn't a song, it was a warning. Oh my God. All right, that's some like cringy edgelord stuff right there. You wouldn't try that in a small town. All right, guy. All right. Anyways, link to the video is going to be in the description down below. Go and check it out. Take care. Goodbye.